Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're taking a deeply focused chronological journey through 92 years of World Cup history. We're going to look strictly at the champions by year, just to truly understand the balance of power in global football. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. We've had 22 total tournaments stretched over nearly a century of play. That is literally thousands of matches, countless players, and just incredible drama. But how many nations truly rule the global game? You might think a worldwide tournament would feature a highly diverse list of winners. But as we're about to see, this club of champions is shockingly exclusive. First up, Chapter 1, the early decades, 1930 to 1970. Right out of the gate, we see absolute dominance by just two nations, Uruguay and Italy. Uruguay claimed the inaugural championship way back in 1930 against Argentina. Then, fast forward through the historical interruption of the 1940s, and Uruguay actually repeated this incredible feat in 1950 by taking down Brazil to claim their second title. Now, what's really interesting about this data is Italy's immediate back-to-back dominance, sandwiched right between those Uruguayan victories. In 1934, Italy won it all against Czechia as the host nation. And then 4 years later, in 1938, they proved their absolute strength by traveling to France and claiming the championship once again against Hungary. I mean, back-to-back champions in the tournament's first official decade. This builds into the legendary early Brazilian era. In 1958, 1962, and 1970, Brazil captured the championship 3 times, first in Sweden, then going back-to-back in Chile, and finally claiming their third in Mexico. It's just an unprecedented early run that completely reshaped the entire landscape of the sport. But Brazil didn't win every single tournament during this stretch. A couple of other historic firsts are woven right through this era. In 1954, Germany secured their first championship by defeating a heavily favored Hungarian side. And jumping down to 1966, England claimed their very first World Cup trophy, famously securing the championship against Germany as the host nation. Moving right along to Chapter 2, the late 20th century, 1974 to 1998. This period is really defined by an incredibly intense rivalry between the powerhouses of Europe and South America. Notice how the hardware just bounces back and forth across the Atlantic here. Germany kicked off this era with a massive championship win in 1974. But then South America struck back, with Argentina emerging as a totally new superpower, claiming the title in 1978 and again in 1986. And right in between those Argentine victories, Italy managed to secure another championship for Europe in 1982. These eras are really defined by the champions overcoming fierce repeating competitors. Talk about heartbreak. In 1974 and 1978, Germany and Argentina claimed their ultimate titles by forcing the Netherlands into back-to-back runner-up finishes against host nations. And then immediately after, Italy and Argentina secured their championships by handing Germany the exact same runner-up fate in 1982 and 1986. Tracking this through the early decades and the late 20th century, a recurring pattern you'll see among these champions is how often they secured their title while defending their own soil. Claiming the championship as the host nation, like Argentina did in '78, really became a hallmark of dominance during this era. So as we close out the 20th century, that back-and-forth rivalry continued. Germany took the 1990 championship crown. Brazil returned to the very top to claim the trophy in 1994, and then, in 1998, France finally secured their very first World Cup championship, doing it in spectacular fashion by defeating Brazil right on their home turf as the host nation. Which brings us to Chapter 3, the modern era, 2002 to 2022. Let's see if the balance of championship power begins to shift as we enter the 21st century. Brazil kicked off the modern era with a massive championship win in 2002 against Germany. But after that, man, it was a total European takeover. Italy rose again to claim the 2006 title. And then, in 2010, Spain entered the history books, claiming their very first World Cup championship by defeating the Netherlands. And this brilliantly illustrates the final chapter of our timeline, bringing us right up to the present day. In 2014, Germany captured the title in Brazil. Then in 2018, France secured their second championship victory. And finally, that unforgettable 2022 tournament saw Argentina triumph over France, bringing the trophy back to South America after 2 straight decades of European dominance. Finally, Chapter 4, the ultimate pantheon, the all-time leaderboard. Let's step back and look at the overall historical tally. So, the crucial point is just how extreme and top-heavy this sport really is. Out of 22 total tournaments, just 3 nations have hoarded 13 championships. It's wild. Brazil sits at the very top of the mountain with 5 all-time wins. Just one step below them, tied for second, we have Germany and Italy with 4 championship wins apiece. They are, without a doubt, the undeniable kings of the global game. Sitting fiercely just below that top tier in a bracket all their own is the number 3, Argentina, has claimed exactly 3 World Cup titles. Their historic wins in 1978, 1986, and most recently in 2022 cement them as a dominant, persistent force that continues to bridge multiple generations of the sport. Next up on our leaderboard, we have the 2-time champions. You have Uruguay, the original powerhouse who won the very first tournament in 1930 and again in 1950. And then you have France, the modern giant, claiming the ultimate prize in 1998 and 2018. To conclude our data breakdown, we have the Single Winners Club. Out of all the nations on Earth, only 2 have won the World Cup exactly once. England, who captured glory in 1966, and Spain, who claimed their golden moment in 2010. Adding these 2 completes our incredibly exclusive list of just 8 champion nations. Which leaves us with a final lingering question. With only 8 nations ever winning the World Cup across 22 tournaments and 92 years, who's going to be the next to break into this exclusive pantheon? The sheer difficulty of winning this tournament is absolutely staggering. It makes you wonder, will we see a 9th champion in our lifetime? Or are these historical giants just going to continue reigning supreme? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.